months or so, he's been in the program. We were just bypassers in the rooms, and then a tragic accident happened, and his girlfriend passed away, and then Nick overdosed shortly after, and I guess you could call it life support he was on. They were breathing for him, which brought us extremely close since then. And he's had a tough road also, so I wanted to give the story to you guys. Here's Nick.
Kind of feel like a rock star right now, you know?
You are, my brother, you are.
My name's Nick. I'm an alcoholic and definitely a drug addict. If you guys don't mind, can we start this with a little bit of prayer? I'm going to start with surrender prayer and then have a moment of silence for all the people out there that don't make it, and then surrender. Prayer. God, grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Alright, like I said, guys, I'm Nick. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. This is the second time I got asked to share my story this week. The first time was Wednesday. I got so nervous I forgot the serenity prayer. I've been saying that every day for about 2 years now. I've been using drugs for a long time. I'm 28 years old. I'm from Minerva, Ohio, a little small town, farm town not far from here. Grew up on a farm. Had a really good family. At least I thought they were healthy. I've been in a lot of counseling, a lot of treatment centers, and I found out it's not healthy whenever your parents work 2 jobs at all times. You get raised by a babysitter and spend all your time alone. So right from the early age, I had some abandonment problems, and I used to hide my mom's keys from her so she couldn't go to work because I didn't want her to leave me. I didn't realize that was unhealthy until probably a month ago. That's not what started me using drugs, but I started probably 13 years old, half of my life ago. I started smoking weed because I was a really short, squat, nerdy kid, and I didn't have a lot of friends. But when I found out all you gotta do is a little bit of drugs or have the drugs and people just liked you, I didn't have to be good at anything except for packing a bowl and taking a big hit. And automatically I was the coolest guy I knew, you know? And I was so high all the time, I didn't even know that I wasn't being cool. It didn't really take me long to realize that I might as well let go of all my dreams because this is the life. This is what I want to do forever. So I made that my life's mission. I just started doing every single drug I came across. I promised myself I'd never smoke crack, do heroin, or do meth. By the time I was 19 years old, I had a needle in my arm. I've done everything that I ever came across. 16 years old, I smoked crack for the first time. 16 years old, I did meth for the first time. So I graduated high school and I was taking a lot of acid and I was listening to Timothy Leary and I figured he had something right, so I tuned in, I turned on, and I dropped out. And I got a plane ticket to Arizona. I dropped out of college, got a plane ticket 2,000 miles away while my parents were on vacation, and they came home, and I'm like, I just want you guys to know I'm leaving next week. I'm going to move out with my sister where the party's on, because that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm going to be a drug addict. But I wasn't an addict then, I didn't think. I just liked drugs. And if I look back on it today, I've been an addict since I first picked up, because I couldn't stop, and I did it for 14 years. 19 years old, I moved out to Arizona, threw my whole life away, didn't want to talk to my family, didn't talk to any of my friends. Well, I talked to one friend, still my friend to this day, thank God. But I wanted to be like everybody else out there, and I wondered why they kept doing this drug that was so bad, and they needed it so bad. So I wanted to see what all the hype was about. So I started smoking heroin. It took me a month and a half before I switched from smoking it to shooting it up because it didn't make sense financially to do it any other way than shoot it up. And that's really how my messed up brain thought. Like, I better shoot it up because I can make this $20 last way longer than I can make it $20 on the foil. And I didn't even think that was a big deal. But it took me down really quick. I was shooting it up for 2 months before I called my mom and begged for, I was eating ramen noodles, I couldn't hold a job, I wasn't showering, my carpet was covered in cigarette burns, no legal consequences, I didn't have a relationship to lose, so it just came down to the point where I couldn't support my habit anymore, so I called for help. And my friend came to visit me and he told my mom I'm really messed up and she might want to do something about it. So I came home, and my parents, being the drinkers they are, and they just wanted me to stop doing hard drugs. So they said, why can't you just smoke weed and drink beer like everybody else? You'll be fine. I'm like, that's a great idea. And so I smoked weed and I drank beer. And then I stole their pills, and then I smoked crack, and then I did heroin, and then I left their house again. Got a job with all my roofing friends who, every week when we got paid our $500, we just throw it together and stop at the crack house before we went home to Carrollton. Of course, who doesn't want to live there when they're 20 years old? That was my dream. I'm going to live with a bunch of crackheads out in the middle of nowhere, having no money or food or heat. And you figure I might learn eventually, but I didn't really. I moved back to my parents' house, and I tried to get clean again. And this is going to start a series of this happening over and over and over again. I would go to their house and I'd stay off dope and stay off crack and pills for about a week and a half. And then I'd move out somewhere else because I couldn't stand them. We just fought because their political views were bad and they were grumpy and they just weren't nice people. So I owe it to myself to do something better and move out and not talk to them for months again until I need help. And so I joined the carnival, 2009. And I thought I was home again. I could get as high as I wanted, as drunk as I wanted for 5 months straight, work for cash, steal from my best friend who is also my boss, and meet a bunch of girls and live the life. And nobody cared if I showered because I was a carny. I was supposed to be dirty and filthy and a piece of crap. So it kind of fit all of my great plans of life. So I did that every summer for 5 months, and then I'd come home and always meet a girl, and I'd move in with a girl. And one of these girls one time left me, and that's when I finally realized that I could get her back. But all I had to do was get her to start doing this dope with me. And I'm 23 years old, dating this 18-year-old girl that I want really badly, probably because she left me and nobody leaves me. I don't understand it because I'm the most awesome best person. I'm incredibly good looking. I'm smarter than everybody else, and I'm a hard worker 5 months out of the year. I don't have a car, I don't have a house, but I can make money. All I gotta do is go steal, so why wouldn't somebody want to be with me? So I started shooting her up. I thought it was normal, I thought I was doing everything okay, because all the way through this whole time I didn't know what I was doing was wrong. I just knew what I was doing was what I wanted to do. I didn't look at any of the damage I was causing. I got this girl addicted to heroin for 3 years. She went out on the streets, she was selling herself for money, and she hated her life, and she had an abortion with my kid, and she had no friends anymore, and I just thought that she was a bitch. I never looked at the fact that I may have ruined her life. Thank God she's clean today. I justified the fact that she decided she didn't need me anymore. She didn't need to go do these dirty things and share half her dope with me, so she left me again. And I kind of took the hint this time. So I moved in with the dope dealer, you know. I was either homeless or I was living in a crack house or living in a meth lab. And that happened for years and years and years and years. And But I could always find a girl that was hard up enough for attention that I could just say whatever I wanted to, or she'd let me move in, and I could just, as long as we had a needle, we had love, you know? And I thought I was in love with so many girls, and I wasn't. I couldn't hold a job. I stole from every job. This all happened until about, I'm going really quick through my story. We don't need a bunch of details. You see a pattern here. I did the same shit. I used people. I stole. I moved in with whoever would take care of me. But my last girlfriend I was living with, she went to rehab, and I decided I wanted to get clean. Oh yeah, some statistics. I'm 28 years old. I have 2 DUIs. Been to jail twice. I've had 18 overdoses. I've wrecked 6 cars. I've been in the psych ward 3 times for suicide attempts. And I'm still alive and healthy. There's got to be something up there, or else I wouldn't have been here today. But, so when this last girl went to rehab, some Scientology place that was going to cure her, needless to say, that didn't work for her. But who am I to judge? And I stayed clean for 5 days living in her mom's house until I broke down and I got high. That night when I got high, I actually wanted to be clean that time. And I cried. I got stranded at Walmart on 62, and I sat there and I cried for 3 hours because nobody would come get me, nobody would talk to me. And it wasn't the first time I felt it, but that was the most distinctive despair I've ever felt in my whole life. Like I was the biggest failure in the world. I just got done being sick. I didn't want that life anymore, and that's when I really realized that I couldn't say no. The first opportunity that I had to get free dope and do some work for somebody, I did it. And I wasn't okay with it. I sat there and I cried, and I was holding a sign outside of Walmart saying, please, will somebody give me a ride? I just need to go down the road. Like, I got somewhere to be in the morning. And I couldn't stand myself. Like, I wanted to die so bad that night. And I got home finally. Some really nice person gave me a ride. They gave me some food, and they gave me a couple bucks and said, God bless you, I hope you do well. And the next day I woke up and my stepdad came to pick me up. I was still high, obviously. But I was on the run for 4 months from probation as well. I tried to get into every single rehab in the state of Ohio in like the northeastern part, except for Wilson Hall, because I knew Wilson Hall would make me talk to my PO. And I thought I knew everything, so I was going to go get clean and then talk to my PO. And the only rehab that would call me back and let me in before the 2-month waiting list was Wilson Hall. So I planned on going there. I went and had my assessment with Mr. Paul, and they said, you come in Monday and pass a urine screen, we'll let you in. And you know, for a long time I lied about that first sobriety date. This is the first time I'm coming clean besides on my 5th step. I drank and used pills every night until I went to Wilson Hall because I was stealing them all from my parents. And I never told anybody besides my sponsor that, and it feels pretty good to get it off my chest. I used every day till I got to Wilson Hall. And because I didn't know how to function sober. I didn't know it. I had one AA meeting before that, and somebody bought me a big book. I remember going to Wilson Hall and finding out all about what's wrong with me, why I use, what can help me. And it saved my life. I'm not going to say I loved that place. I loved it for what it did for me, but when I was going through it, man, I found out that I have a second problem when I'm sober, and that is women. I have a serious problem putting women as the priority in my life over everything, and we'll find out why that's something bad for me in a little bit. But I got written up 5 times for fraternizing with women, and like most people give like hugs and stuff at meetings and they get written up. Well, I took it, I see the line, and then I take a couple steps over it every time. So I almost got kicked out of there. They weren't gonna let me in transition, but they did, and I ended up staying in Wilson Hall for 7 months. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Around 7 months, I just couldn't stand it, and I needed to get out. And I left on January 14th of 2016. I stayed sober for 3 more months. In this time, I moved. I really wanted to move out of there mostly because I started talking to this girl, and I want her to be able to come over to my house. Her name is Candace, and I really liked her. We went to a lot of meetings. We were active in recovery together until one day we weren't. And I stayed sober for 3 months after I got out of Wilson Hall. Turned out to be 11 months sober, and she didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I didn't know how to take it. So the first thing I did was I went and took a drink. Before that, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. I got a job at American Eagle. The manager hired me, sitting right back there. I walked in there and I said, "All right, Carol, what you got to know about me is I'm a recovering drug addict, so you're going to see all this stuff on my background check. Give me a chance." And she did, and today I am practically an assistant manager. I train everybody new, and I'm doing really well at that job, and they're really understanding of everything because being honest about my disease has given me so many chances. Through all these times, I've taken 2 leaves of absence from there from overdoses and locking myself away, and they've been really understanding. So I don't hide my addiction from anybody. But back to the story. I was with Candace for 3 months. She didn't want to talk to me. I went out and used, ended up in the hospital. Ended up in the psych ward after that because I couldn't stop again. My life was really good. I didn't realize I couldn't control it anymore. So I thought that since I can control it now, since my life's all back together, I'm not using every day I can pick up. I almost died the first time I picked up. And I got clean again, and I found out the reason she didn't want to talk to me is because she started drinking, and she said, "Oh, well, you're Mr. Perfect. I didn't want to be around doing that." And she eventually got clean too, and when she started talking to me again, she came over to my house and said, "Nick, I'm pregnant." And you know, my normal reaction back in the day would have been like, "Shut up, get out, you're a liar." But I can look at facts today, and we took no preventative measures. I'm not going to detail it, but she got pregnant, and along this whole life of losing all my hopes and dreams and just being an addict and not caring about anything, the one thing I've held on to the most in my life is I want to be a father, I want to have a family, because that's something I can do still. I don't have to go to college to do that. I just have to be me, and I can be good at it. And I can have a father that I never had, because my dad's been gone since I was 3. I had a stepfather, his best father I could ever ask for, but he missed my whole childhood until I was a teenager. And I don't know how excited Candace was about it, but we decided we're going to go with it. We're going to have this baby. No matter what happens, we're going to have this baby, and we're going to do the best we can. And it was like a dream come true. I was like, finally, my life's together. I'm in sobriety. I got a decent job. It doesn't pay me shit, but I'm working, and I don't need money for anything right now anyway. So I started saving money and doing the right thing. And she was doing good. She was working like crazy, taking care of her health. Everything was going fine. June 25th, I get a call. And I said, "Nick, you gotta come to Candace's house right now." I'm like, "What's going on?" I thought something happened with the baby. And her cousin said, "I can't tell you, just get here. There's gonna be ambulances and cops. Don't freak out." How the hell am I not supposed to freak out with the mother of my child? I saw her 9 days before that. I saw the ultrasound. I saw this baby's little heart beating, and I knew that my creation was in her, and we were going to do this, and I was going to be a father, and I created a life. God gave me that gift to create a life. And I got to her house. I ran out of the jumped out of the moving car, ran into her yard. There's 30 people out there. They're just standing with their heads down. There's an ambulance backed up to her driveway. Her cousin runs up to me, grabs me real tight, and she says, "Nick, she did it." I'm like, "What did she do? What did she do?" "She's dead. She overdosed. Her mom found her in her room." I'm standing there like this. I don't know what to do. I'm trembling. I'm shaking. I'm not crying. I don't believe it. It can't be real. I just want to destroy everything. I want to break it all. I want to murder somebody right in front of me. This is getting taken from me. I'm doing everything right. Needless to say, I made her my higher power. I made that child my higher power. That was my priority in life, was that. I forgot about me. Who's got to focus on themselves when they got other people and other things to focus on? So that's what I did. And that got ripped out of my hands. I went to 3 meetings within a 24-hour period because I thought that was going to help me. But I wasn't listening to what I heard in those meetings. I wasn't trying to make the problem better. I was the problem. I might have not been the cause for her death, but I'm the problem with me. And I didn't want to look at it. So what does an addict do when they don't want to feel something? They pick up some drugs. I lied to everybody. That week after she died, I was using every day. I smoked crack, I did heroin. I raised money for the funeral though, so I justified it. I raised $1,000 in 12 hours for her parents. My family gave me $500 to give her. We got flowers. So I'm doing all this stuff and I'm spreading awareness and I'm sharing these things and I'm inviting people to the funerals. I'm doing everything I can do because I owe that to her and to her family. But the only thing I really owed her was to take care of myself and live a good life. And I didn't do that. I made it through her funeral high as hell. Erin called me out on in the hospital and I told her, "No, wait, let me get my lies straight." I was so doped up on whatever they gave me, I couldn't even lie right. Sons of bitches. You know, the night after her funeral, I had a shot sitting up in my room. I had a friend of mine drop it off at my house while I was at the funeral and leave it up there. I couldn't mourn her death whenever I was there. I just numbed it. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know how to deal with anything. So, as soon as I got home, I went out to eat with my parents and my grandparents and my roommate. Stood there and shook hands, was as supportive as I could. I like to say that I was there for her, but I was there for me. And I didn't think about that at all. I was really sad, but I didn't think about her at all when I was in there. When I was at that funeral, all I could think about is I have a shot waiting for me at home. At least I picked up heroin again. I didn't care about anybody. She was the love of my life. We might not have been together very long, but I loved her so much. I would have gladly traded my life for hers at that time right there. So I gave up caring. I got home and I took that shot. I didn't care what happened. I wanted to die. I was done with life. So I took the shot. It felt good for about a third of a second, and I was down. I was out, the rough estimate, I was out for an hour. I woke up looking like a grape, more like a raisin, because I was all shriveled up and purple, coughing up blood all over myself. I went downstairs like I was hobbling. I don't know if anybody's woke up for an overdose, but I was at 65% oxygen when I went into the hospital. I was a dead man walking, literally. And something woke me up to call for help. because I woke up this time. Not any of the other 17 overdoses, but this one specifically. I tried my hardest to not care anymore, not give a shit. And I woke up. Blue and bloody, but I woke up. They put me down for 4 days in the hospital because my body couldn't fix itself. My lungs filled with blood, I aspirated. They said I had the most people come to ICU that they've ever seen to visit me. And that's because of AA and the Warriors Project. You Warriors were there every single day when I was awake, when I was sleeping. I never had a minute alone. Phil and Aaron were there a lot. Like after all the other Warriors left, they'd be back. You brought me Wendy's too, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Bacon cheeseburger, and it was amazing. But with all these light notes and all the support I got, I'm an addict. And my wheels started turning when I heard release date. So I planned on getting high. I already made text and had money set up, and I was ready to start getting high again as soon as I left the hospital. What kind of crazy thinking is that? Like, all this stuff happens because of heroin use, and I'm still ready to throw my life away and get high. The support group in my life didn't see it that way. So they were there waiting because they knew I was getting out that day. And they weren't letting me leave by myself. By the grace of God, I got into Regional Center for Opiate Recovery that day, 2 hours after I left the hospital. They don't usually let people in unless they have an appointment and go through an assessment and everything. They just told me to get over there, grab some clothes and come in. We'll do everything later. And they just took me in with open arms. And I stayed there for 40 days. And I've been out for about 20 now. And I'm not taking this time for granted. God gave me a billionth chance that I don't deserve. I never asked for this good life He's given me. But this 2 months of sobriety feels better than any time I've ever had sober. I'm really trying to stay single this time. That's a serious problem, and I'd like to say it's a joke, but it's not. And I'm not ready to be with another woman. I still think about Candace every day. I think about the baby more. I just want it so bad. And I've been trying to help with Warriors Project in Ohio, Can, and AA, and volunteering for everything I have time to do. I went back to work this week. I'm still doing IOP. I go to 7 meetings a week. I'm doing everything I possibly can to honor all those people who didn't make it. I mean, everybody in here that was a user, we are so lucky that we're here. People aren't getting that chance anymore. Everybody's dropping like flies. In the last 2 years, I've probably had 5 people I know. 3 people that I loved just fall and not make it. God's not done with me. I wake up every time. No matter where I am, and I get high alone a lot, so God brings me back. I'm not done, and maybe this thing I'm doing today will help somebody, because there's no other reason for me to be alive than to carry the message of hope and recovery to somebody else. I get nervous. I'm not a really good speaker. I have a lot of tangents, but I'm Nick Benz. I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict. I'm alive and grateful today, and I'm glad I'm part of this group. I'm glad I'm part of the world, really. I shouldn't be here, but I am, so I'm gonna make something out of it. I love y'all, guys.